In this English grammar lesson, we will focus on something is different. That is second conditional. So, we have first conditional and now we talk about second conditional. So, we must know what is the meaning of second conditional, so how it is work, what is the grammar rules of second conditional, what is the difference between second conditional, first and zero. So درسنا لهذا اليوم هو الحالة الثانية من السكند conditional من if الشرطية. So let's know it is talk about what when I want to suppose something or I think about something in the future at the present times. So what I will do today, I will explain something about these situations that I use second conditional. So, to imagine things that will not happen or we don't expect that it will happen. لتخيل to imagine things أشياء أو عدة حالات that will not happen حالات لا تحدث or we don't expect أو لا نتوقع that it will happen حدوثها. So I suppose something it is imagination, just I dream for something, يعني أتخيل شيء، أتخيل حدوث شيء. فراح نستخدم we use للتخيلات هذه للفرضيات we use if with past simple tense and subject with an infinitive. يعني قاعدتنا راح تكون the form of second conditional شكل أو قاعدة second conditional هي if، هي بدايتها if clauses, and we have two parts of a sentences. There is a condition and this a result. The condition of if clause and the result or the main clause. عندي جملة الشرط وجملة جواب الشرط. But there is something it is so important we must focus on it or we note about that after if directly or followed by it for the second conditional sentence in the past simple tense. يعني الجملة التي تلي if مباشرة في حالة second conditional الحالة الثانية هي past simple tense زمن الماضي البسيط. Then we put comma نضع الكوما to separate these two sentences للفصل بين الجملتين باعتبار عندي if at the beginning، باعتبار if هي هنا موقعها بالبداية فراح نفصلهم بالكوما. Then we put subject الفاعل would اللي هو المودal verbs verbs. After that we have infinitive. Always after modal verbs we have infinitive. دائما بعد المودal we have infinitive وهو verbs without any addition، فعل without any addition بدون أي إضافة. So let's see what is the form or what is the rule of the past simple tense. خلونا نشوف قاعدة الماضي البسيط وهي subject with verb. past simple tense the rule هي subject with verb. عندي الفعل مرة يكون indicative verb and sometimes it is subjunctive. عندي مرة يكون حقيقي ومرة افتراضي. But here are the first things I will explain the verbs that regular and irregular. We have two verbs. أبناء الverbs two kinds. مرة يكون عندي regular قياسي بالpast simple tense. Regular such as played. Just I added ed at the end of the word or the verb. يعني بنهاية الفعل أضيف مرة ed. Sometimes stopped. Just I double pay and added ed. أحيانا منتهي بالصوت صحيح before it قبله letter vowel حرف علة راح أضعف. هذا regular. What about the second part? It is irregular verb. Irregular verb it is different. Change all the words all the verb. أحيانا الفعل تلقائيا هو يتغير جذريا such as we use always this verbs. دائما نستخدم هذا الفعل وهو go became went. go تصبح went بالpast simple tense. So the rule of the past simple tense قاعدة الماضي البسيط هي subject verb. مرة الverb عندي يكون regular قياسي ومرة irregular شاذ. And that's all about past simple tense rule. To make it more clear for the second conditional, لأجل أن تكون أكثر وضوحا ال second conditional, we see it in the example. نلاحظ المثال. If I won a lot of money, I would buy a house. إذا ربحت كثيرا من النقود سأشتري منزلا. So we notice just when I read it in Arabic, it is expressed about something. It is subjunctive, hypothetical, unreal situations. يعني شيء جاي أتخيله. If I won إذا ربحت كثيرا من النقود، يعني أفكر إذا ربحت كثيرا من النقود سأشتري منزل. But it is not now happens، لكن هي في الوقت الحالي ما حدثت. So let's see the rule of the grammar rules of this condition. So we notice if there is if، نلاحظ if هي موجودة because after if directly past simple tense باعتبار الجملة اللي بعدها مباشرة بالsecond conditional هي جملة الماضي البسيط. إذن subject يتكون الماضي البسيط من subject ننزله then verb regular and irregular. نلاحظ الفعل اللي هو المين verb الفعل الرئيسي هو past simple tense بالpast. الفعل بالماضي won وهو ربحت. إذا أنا ربحت won. So we see won أصل origin of the verb won is when. عند الفعل when يصبح won in the past simple. ليش غيرت الفعل when إلى won باعتبار عندي past simple tense؟ ليش past simple tense؟ باعتبار عندي second conditional، والsecond conditional تقول بعد if clauses we have past simple tense، يعني بعدها لازم يكون ماضي بسيط. إذن if I won a lot of money, then I put comma to separate these two sentences. راح شنو؟ نضيف كوما على مود نفصل ذول الجملتين. Then I put subject عند الفاعل ننزله وهو I. Then modal verb would ننزل would. It is about the rule، يعني مثل ما الرول القاعدة تريد مني جاي أنزل would. Then after would we have infinitive. نلاحظ الفعل وهو buy. I would buy. Subject would plus infinitive buy a house. So we see here I would buy. I can say I'd in contraction way. يعني ممكن بدل ما أقول I would ممكن أختصرها أقول I'd. And we see here buy it is infinitive وعندي buy هي infinitive. So if I won a lot of money I would buy a house. So here if at the beginning, can I put it in the middle? Yes of course, but without comma. يعني ممكن بدل if ما هي بالبداية ممكن أخليها بالمنتصف. نعم ممكن، لكن I omit comma نحذف الكوما and put if in the middle ونخلي if بالوسط. لكن بعد if راح يكون past simple tense لأن هي الجملة المباشرة اللي تتبعها، واللي قبلها راح تكون جملة result. فتكون I would buy a house if I won a lot of money. أو ممكن أقول if I won a lot of money I would buy a house. To make it more clear, we have some sentences. من أجل تكون أكثر وضوح ناخذ some sentences بعض الجمل such as مثل in this example if she have between practice if she have shorter hair she look nicer. if these sentences come on the exam or some exercise in activity book in some way, so how can I answer on it? About second conditional. كيف راح نحلها في حالة second conditional؟ نلاحظ if هي at the beginning، بما انه if بالبداية وطالب مني second conditional، اذا بعد if مباشرة راح تكون الجملة بالpast simple tense، واللي بعدها تكون subject with infinitive. So how can I answer on it? It became if ننزل if then subject شيء باعتبار الجملة الأولى راح تكون in the past simple tense، باعتبار الجملة الأولى راح تكون بالماضي البسيط، so she it is the same subject she تنزل. then have became to have change into had. الهاف نحولها إلى had باعتبار عندي past simple tense and it is here irregular verb main verb، باعتبار عندي هنا هذا الverb هو irregular شاذ، فراح تتحول have change into had. if she had shorter hair، إذا امتلكت شعر أقصر أو شعرا أقصر، we put comma ننزل الكوما. then we have subject with would and infinitive. subject ننزل شيء، we bring modal verbs would نجلب الwould and after would we have look between practice باعتبار بعد الwould لازم دائما infinitive، فننزل look such as it مثل ما هي look nicer. إذا امتلكت شعرا أقصر she would look nicer ستبدو أجمل. so we see here the change of something just between practice or I added something. يعني نلاحظ إذا اجتنا هيك حالة فقط نغير اللي بين الأقواس أو أحيانا نضيف شيء، يعني هذا هنا تحولت هذا باعتبار عندي second conditional ولازم تكون ماضي بسيط الجملة اللي بعد if بحالة second conditional. في الجزء الثاني أو البارت الثاني المين clause of this case of second conditional، الجزء الثاني راح نلاحظ look هي look نزلناها، لكن we added something before it. it is modal verbs that is would، لكن ضفنا قبلها would باعتبار rule or الفورميلي subject would plus infinitive، ونلاحظ look it is infinitive. if so if she had shorter hair she would look nicer. another example to explain it، مثال آخر you are in a different way في حالة مغايرة. you not be tired if you go to bed earlier. so we see here or notice something that if in the middle of these two parts of the clause and main clause، نلاحظ if هي هنا موقعها change or replace the place of if in the middle. نلاحظ if هنا بالبداية لكن بهذا المثال بالمنتصف، بما أنه عندي second conditional إذا الجملة اللي بعد if مباشرة سواء بالبداية أو بالوسط تكون past simple، واللي قبلها راح تكون be subject with plus infinitive. so let's see something it is different here. it is not. نلاحظ هنا هذه الجملة بها not between practice. so how can we answer on it? let's see كيف راح نحلها. you ننزل you باعتبار عندي الجملة الريزولت راح تكون subject would infinitive، ننزل اليو. بعد ال subject directly we put modal verbs that is would نضيف ال would، لكن عندي هنا not راح ننزل not here. not تنزل after modal verbs مباشرة بعد ال modal verbs. then we say after modal verbs we have infinitive. there is be عندي هو هنا الانفينيتيف راح ننزله be كما هو باعتبار هو في حالة الانفينيتيف. that is the same. you wouldn't be tired. you wouldn't be tired. سوف لن تكون متعبا. if ننزلها بالميدل and we see here because if in the middle so there is the past simple tense the sentence of condition. جملة الشرط راح تكون بالpast simple باعتبار if مباشرة بعدها، فالpast simple ننزل اليو and we see between practice بين الأقواس عندي go راح تكون change into went. go حولتها إلى went باعتبار عندي past simple وهذا irregular verb وهي second conditional to bed earlier. You wouldn't be tired if you went to bed earlier. سوف لن تكون متعبا إذا ذهبت إلى الفراش مبكرا. So this is a different ways of second conditional in these sentences. So let's take more examples in a different ways. So in this example, let's see how second conditional break the rules of grammar and how we use it in different ways. That in this, let's see. If he be rich, he buy an expensive car. If he be rich, he buy an expensive car. So we said if we put it the same, نزل if as it, but here we prove how second conditional used for hypothetical situation. راح نلاحظ كيف second conditional تعبر عن شيء افتراضي. How is in grammar كيف في حالة الجرامر. So if he be rich نلاحظ he be between brackets be نلاحظ بين الأقواس be and by. But if he, because after if past simple tense condition sentence باعتبار بعد if الشرطية الجملة لازم تكون بالماضي البسيط ولازم تكون هي جملة الشرط. And then the result sentence main clause and the rule is subject with infinitive. But we see here he be ننزل الإف باعتبار هي بالbeginning and after it past simple tense. But we see he be ننزل he. But instead of be that's become was for singular we change it for were. يعني بدل البي اللي راح نحولها إلى was راح تتحول إلى were. Why? Because it is unreal situation, because it is hypothetical, subjunctive mood. We have two auxiliary, subjunctive and indicative, but here in the second conditional it's changed for the subjunctive mood that became were if it is singular or plural. سواء كانت مفرد أو جمع البي راح تتحول إلى were just in the second conditional. فقط في الماضي البسيط تتحول be إلى were سواء كان subject singular or plural سواء كان مفرد أو جمع. If he were rich إذا كان غنيا. Then I put comma ننزل الكوما he تنزل كما هي. But before infinitive verb قبل ال by راح bring auxiliary modal verbs that is would. راح نجلب would اللي هي modal verbs. After would we put the infinitive verb that is by or the base form of verb أو المصدر المجرد without any addition بدون أي إضافة وهو buy an expensive car. If you were rich he would buy an expensive car. إذا كان غنيا سيشتري سيارة غالية. Expensive the antonym of expensive. Expensive غالي الأنتونيم cheap or opposite it is cheap. Rich غني the antonym or the opposite it is rich غني poor فقير. So my title that focus or I want to focus about the verb to be. أريد أركز حول الverb to be. You must pay attention for that and it is more important to keep it in your mind. That is be changed to were if the subject singular or plural سواء كان الفاعل مفرد أو جمع وشفنا verb to be نحوله إلى were دائما change to were because it is subjunctive mood لكون هي hypothetical افتراضية غير حقيقية. It is impossible to happen now or in the future. Have more time to become يعني ممكن تاخذ وقت طويل لتحقيقها. Different ways of situations So when I say that if he were rich he would buy an expensive car، يعني إذا كان غنيا سيشتري سيارة غالية. هذا خيالي، هذا افتراضي. So I can say also instead of he would I can say he'd يعني بدل ما نقول he would ممكن نقول he'd but after it infinitive verb or the base form of verb، لكن بعدها مباشرة لازم يكون مصدر مجرد خالي من أي إضافة وهو by. But I will read again about where it is so important. My question is, if I bring was, it is wrong or not? No, it is not wrong, but much better that I use where to express about second conditional. لكن الأفضل نستخدم where سواء كان مفرد أو جمع just in second conditional فقط في حالة if الشرطية الحالة الثانية. Why? Because it is hypothetical, subjunctive, unreal mood. So that's it. Or I can say if he were rich he'd buy an expensive car, or if he were rich he would buy an expensive car. Can I change the place of if? Yes I can. يعني ممكن نغير موقع if ممكن، لكن بعدها the if clause sentence of if clause that of condition and before it the main clause or the sentence of result, and it became he would buy an expensive car if he were rich. So you must pay attention for the verb to be that is changed to were if the subject singular or plural. Okay, that's it. To make the previous examples more clear, let's listen to the next video.
If my superpower were arrogance, my name would be Dr. Arroganto. If my superpower were arrogance, my name would be Dr. Arroganto. If my superpower...
After we listen to the previous video, we see if my superpower were arrogance, my name would be Dr. Arroganto. So here, my superpower were. نلاحظ إذا كنت مخترا بقوتي my name would be اسمي سيكون Dr. Arroganto. فنلاحظ how he used second conditional. نلاحظ كيف استخدم second conditional in this sentence بهذه الجملة. He talk about something hypothetical. يتكلم عن شيء افتراضي إذا كان مخترا بقوته عنده قوة. So he used my superpower. نلاحظ my superpower where. فعندي where هو استخدم where بدلا من was باعتبار عندي my superpower, but he used where. Why? Because it is second conditional. باعتبار عندي second conditional حتى وإن كانت singular مفرد راح يستخدم where because it is hypothetical. My name would be Dr. Arroganto. This is the second part or the main clause of the second conditional subject with the plus infinitive that is be. But we focus about my superpower قوتي my superpower where. فعندي نلاحظ my superpower سواء كانت مفرد أو جمع راح نستخدم where لأن عندي second conditional. So that's it. So don't forget that something علينا عدم نسيان عدة أشياء. Don't forget that is here be عندي الverb to be changed or became in the present. الverb to be يتحول بالpresent إلى is in present for singular. is للمفرد are for plural للجمع and am for I وam for I. هذه في حالة in the case of a present. And became in the past في الماضي راح تتحول إلى was for singular and were for plural. Was للsingular و were للplural. هذا in general, but in the second conditional we use always were. لكن بحالة second conditional دائما نستخدم were. إذا كانت singular أو plural. and became or become been راح تتحول إلى been في حالة ال past participle. so the verb to be الverb to be فعل الكينونة يكون بال present is are am, and in the past was and were. in the past participle been.
But if the officials were brutally honest, they would say,
after we listen to the video, we see how it is. But if the officials were brutally honest, they would say, or if the officials were brutally honest, they would say. So we notice here that is officials were, officials were, officials were. Here it is were. So were officials were. نلاحظ بأن officials هي معناها المسؤولين. إذا كان المسؤولون brutally honest أكثر نزاهة, they would say سيقولون. so where نلاحظ هنا استخدمنا where instead of was. we said because it is second conditional, so we use where instead of was if it is singular or plural, سواء كانت مفرد أو جمع. يعني إذا قلت official ممكن نقول where, أو قلت officials were. so here Bill Gates explain how the officials, but in the grammar rules we used second conditional. لكن بالحالة الثانية في الشرطية هنا استخدمنا second conditional الحالة الثانية, وهي استخدمنا were بدلا من was. Now let's have a new ways of second conditional in this example. نأخذ مثال آخر وهو if he not smoke he be a lot healthier. if he not smoking, بما انه نحتاج second conditional اذا عندي if جاهزة ننزل if. بعد if مباشرة تكون past simple tense. بعد if لازم عندي past simple tense الماضي البسيط باعتبار عندي second conditional بعد subject word plus infinitive. but we here if ننزل if الماضي البسيط subject and verb ننزل he هو subject. but we notice here not. نلاحظ هنا عندي not وعندي فعل وهو smoke. so we in negative way any questions in past simple tense we use did. بالماضي البسيط بحالة النفي والاستفهام نستخدم did. نستخدم الفعل auxiliary verb to do فعل العمل وهو did بالماضي البسيط just in the past simple فقط في الماضي البسيط. فراح نجلب الفعل وهو did. if he did عندي not أنزلها. if he didn't بعد didn't أو بعد did دائما عندي infinitive verb or the form of the verb the base of verb المصدر المجرد وهو smoke راح تنزل كما هي. so if he didn't smoke this is past simple in negative way. هذا في حالة النيجاتيف بالماضي البسيط. إذا لقينا النات وعندي ماضي بسيط راح أجلب الفعل auxiliary verb to do فعل العمل وهو did فقط في الماضي البسيط did في الماضي البسيط. then I put not بعدها ننزل not. then after did we have infinitive بعدها الانفينيتيف وهو smoke. if he didn't smoke إذا هو لم يدخن أو إذا لم يدخن we put comma ننزل الكوما. he ننزل الهي باعتبار البارت الثاني يكون subject would infinitive. نجلب المودال verbs he would. after would we have infinitive عندنا البي تنزل كما هي باعتبار عندي infinitive. he would be a lot healthier if he didn't smoke he would be a lot healthier. إذا لم يدخن سيكون أكثر صحي أو سيكون ذو طاقة صحية أكثر. so here smoke it is infinitive. and B it is infinitive. نلاحظ بعد ال would infinitive be وبعد ال didn't هو infinitive وهو smoke. So look for this important things or this important point. هذه الملاحظة المهمة وهي after بعد the auxiliary do, does and did. بعد أفعال العمل وهي do, does, did. عندي do, does and the present simple في المضارع البسيط نستخدمهن. does for singular and do for plural. did for the past simple tense. والdid لي الماضي. بعد ذول الverb to do أفعال العمل we have دائما يكون بعدهم infinitive. بعدهم infinitive verb without any additions. فعل مجرد خالي من أي إضافة or the base form of the verb. الفعل المجرد الخالي من أي إضافة وهو infinitive بعد verb to do and modal verbs. So we see in this example also what you do if you find money in the street. نلاحظ بهذا المثال بادي بال WH questions. هذا المثال بادي بال WH question. But the first things we must see where's the place of if to answer it and we know which sentence we use. أول شيء نلاحظ موقع if. إذن if هي بالمنتصف. إذن بعدها بما أنه I talk about second conditional بما أنه جاء أتحدث عن الماضي عن حالة if الشرطية الثانية. إذن بعد if راح يكون ماضي بسيط بما أنه if بالوسط. وقبلها راح تكون ب subject with infinitive. Future and the past. So but we see here WH question. لكن لاحظ هنا بهذه الجملة اللي راح تتكون من subject with infinitive بدايتها من WH question. متكونة من WH question. WH question إذن حالة سؤال. We see here question mark علامة السؤال. So we put as it راح ننزل WH question كما هي. لكن بما أنه هي WH question after it modal verbs or the auxiliary of modal verbs راح ننزل بعدها المودال verbs الفعل المساعد وهو would. What would. What would. لو حذفنا what راح تكون you would do. But here because it is WH question بما أنه عندي WH question راح ننزل ال WH question اللي هي what. We bring modal verbs would نجلب ال would. After would subject ننزل ال subject you and then infinitive do. What would you do? الدو عندي هنا infinitive. If ننزل if. After if directly follow it past simple tense because it is second conditional. بما أنه هي second conditional إذا بعدها past simple ماضي بسيط. ننزل you. Then we change find to found because it is past simple. بما أنه عندي find بالpresent بالمضارع راح أحولها إلى found باعتبار هي ماضي بسيط. Found money in the street. So what would you do if you found money in the street? ماذا ستفعل إذا وجدت نقودا في الشارع? So it is my question for you. What do you do if you found money in the street? Will you use it or not? So find change to found. It is a regular verb. Now we finished all things about second conditional. I will make a very fast review for the second conditional. You must focus on it and put it in your mind or keep it in your mind. So remember some things. That is second conditional الحالة الثانية من if الشرطية express about تعبر عن hypothetical situation حالة افتراضية أو حالات افتراضية or different ways أو طرق مختلفة that not real التي تكون ليست حقيقية. Second conditional express about hypothetical situation or different ways that not real. We use were instead of was because it is unreal situations. We said about that in some videos and in some things I indicate for it. So نستخدم بدل were نستخدم were بدلا من was بدل من was because it is unreal situation لأن هي غير حقيقية هذه الحالة. It is just impossible to happen يعني nوعا ما لا تحدث في الوقت الحاضر. لذلك بدل was نستخدم were such as when I say if I were a president I would change the education. إذا كنت الرئيس سأغير التعليم. If I were a president I would reduce the taxes. ممكن أن أغير الضرائب أو أقلل الضرائب. So we use were instead of was. رح نستخدم were بدلا من was just in the second conditional فقط في الحالة الثانية من if الشرطية. And we can change the order of if clause. ممكن أن نغير موقع if الشرطية. Sometimes at the beginning, sometimes at the middle of a sentence. But if it is at the beginning, I put the comma to separate the sentences. إذا كانت بالبداية رح نضع بالمنتصف comma. إذا كانت بالمنتصف I put dot at the end of the sentences. And the contraction of would is id as she'd or I'd. يعني بدل الاختصار ل would هو id. نلاحظ id would تختصر إلى id as. ممكن أقول she would بدل من ما أقول she would I say أقول she'd or I'd. I can use these two things. ممكن أستخدم هذول الشيئين عادي. ممكن أستخدم I'd أو ممكن أستخدم I would. So that's all about the second conditional. And the last things, the homework for you just write your answer in the below of this video. يعني تكتبون أجوبتكم تحت الفيديو. This homework هذا الواجب وهو if you have wings where you fly. Wings means جناحان. If you have wings where you fly. This is the first sentence that you must answer on it. هذه الجملة الأولى اللي هي واجب. And the second, everybody like him if he not be so bossy. Everybody like him if he not be so bossy. So just pay attention for the place of if. اهتموا بموقع if. لاحظوا أول شي موقع if. And bossy means متسلط. عندي bossy متسلط. So that's it all about the second conditional. See you for the next lecture. Bye bye.